Alright, I'm back. 10 down. This is number 11. Fisher. This is one of my favorite victim impact classes. Having someone who has been on this side of the fence is quite refreshing. The roadblocks in your way seem very high and daunting. Knowing what you are facing, have faced, and are overcoming is amazing. You are a role model that I can get behind. Someone from where I am now, making good and doing good. I was totally engrossed by your story and the struggles you went through. The focus on your goals, but the battle with your addiction was almost Olympian in stature. 5 tries, 4 failures. The 4 failures is not that amazing. The 5 tries is. Something that I find so amazing also is your love of basketball, and how your love for the game has now kept you on the path to a future that will be bright and something that will give back to society. That is a very fitting gift for the damage done. The message here is that what you are doing is special and worthwhile. I can almost see the faces of the people you have saved. Maybe Bob can too. Thank you. There's a lot of emotions in this one, for multiple reasons. First is, I don't even know. Like, I feel like I have been failing as of late. And I hold a lot of guilt still to this day. I've forgiven myself. I know what I did was an accident. But when things go wrong, I sometimes allow them to keep going wrong because I internally feel like I don't deserve positive things. And I think sometimes that kills my momentum. Because I do deserve bad things to happen to me because I took somebody's life. And that's the one thing I'm worried about posting some of these videos, is that they get clipped the wrong way and people think that I'm acting for not forgiveness, but victim, and I'm not. I don't want anybody to ever think that just because I say like I'm having a hard time or emotion doesn't make me think about the man that was killed. And his name was Bill, it wasn't Bob. But, which leads me to the other piece of this, is I do think Bill knows that I've saved a lot of lives. I've told this story a couple times, but I'll never forget it. February of 2018, I was doing a speech at Resurrection Christian up in Loveland, Fort Collins area. And it's this Christian school, and it was the first time I've ever spoke at a religious school, in the sense that I went into their church, which was their auditorium, and they got their plexiglass and this amazing setup and TVs and bleachers, and not bleachers, but chairs. And it felt like the first time I was like a pastor. But I got there an hour early before the event, like I always do. I go to check in, and I get to the thing to check in, and this man's there waiting, and he's like, well, what are you doing here? I'm your tech guy. I'm going to help you set up. And we just carried a conversation, and we get in there, we set up. I put in my flash drive, I test the microphones, and I do keep it as basic as possible. And he goes, all right, well, I appreciate it. If you need anything, I'll be around. But I tried to invite him, and he's like, I got other things to do. Well, at the end of the speech, I'm not thinking much of it. there's a line of students. I go through all the line of students, and he's the last one waiting at the end. And he's crying, and he hugs me, and he looks at me, and he goes, "Bill forgives you." He goes, "My name's Bill. I'm 57 years old." And that was about 20 minutes from the accident. And that man proceeded to tell me that he had no intention of watching the speech and something called him to do it. And he stayed and watched the speech. And so from February of 2018, I've forgiven myself because I know Bill has. But it doesn't mean that I've forgiven myself for the pain that I've caused other people. The ickiness that I sometimes feel with my job and my career. And I shouldn't, but I do. Because I stand on stage and I talk. I tell a story about all my failures, and that's how I make a living. And a good one. When I'm speaking. But I have a hard time. I've made so many mistakes in this life. And that's the thing he points out is, the 5 tries wasn't cool. It was the 4 times getting up. And he accidentally messed that up because it was more than that. It was 5 times and 6 for actual college basketball programs. But yeah, I failed at 5 schools. And then to go back for my 6th after going to prison and after drunk driving and taking the innocent life of somebody, to go to the halfway house, to go on probation, to fight fires, to do military boot camp, and still have the passion to come out and go play college basketball. And at a small, tiny NAIA school. I didn't even know what the NAIA was. But it was literally the only college in the country I could play at. Only college. And there are 7,000 programs out there. And it was the only one I could play at. NCAA wouldn't touch me. I had tryouts. The day I actually found out what Johnson & Wales was, I had tryouts at Metro. Killed the tryouts, and chances are I probably would have gone to Metro, but they didn't know my entire background. They didn't know I was going to have to sit out games and have to do all this. And then on top of that, the coach that recruited me jumped ship and was going out to another school. So when I showed up to campus, they didn't even know I was there. They're like, "What are you doing here?" And I told them XYZ coach had set this up. And they go, "Oh yeah, he just left a couple months ago and he never even told me." But I don't know, this life has been so crazy and hectic, and all I know is that I know I have something worthwhile that helps people. I know telling my story, it truly helps people. Like, I don't want to be a speaker. I like it. I love it. I love getting on stage now. I hated it at the beginning. But life is filled with obstacles and roadblocks, and every day you got to decide whether you're going to get up and keep fighting. I've kept fighting. I don't know how. This last 6 years has been even harder than prison. The pandemic, divorce, moving to another state, the stuff I'm facing this last year for 2025, 2026, frankly, has been harder than prison. Because I talked about it the other day, like you can do so many things in this world and make so many good choices in this life. But there are still roadblocks. Being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, nothing's safe. There's no instant paycheck coming back just because you show up to work. I work every day. I work 7 days a week. Sometimes I go months without getting paid. That's why I'm building everything that I'm building now. So that not only am I paid all the time, but 15, 20 people. I want to be able to make sure that I'm taking care of people. Helping people into their futures and building their portfolios and helping them make millions of dollars. That's my end goal. I've got a goal. Part of my goal isn't just about me. It's about the 5 people that believe in me, the 10 people that are along for this ride. I want them to have 6-figure years, 7-figure years. That's my goal. Not just me. But man, this letter strikes a chord today. Strikes a chord every day. It's just some days, I don't know, man. I've made so many mistakes. Oh, why am I the one that keeps living and keeps breathing and keeps being able to have the opportunities to do something special? But this podcast is turning into something else. Nobody even knows about it yet. I've got 11 mini episodes already done. I've done a couple Opus clips to put it out there. But when I post it and start promoting it, see what happens. Gonna hear what people have to say. Because this is true. This is raw. This is real. I don't fake. Yeah, speaking of fake, like when he says, but battling with your addiction was almost Olympian in stature. 5 tries, 4 failures. I'm not an Olympian. It's kind of cool. I know 2 amazing athletes, incredible. One I got to play flag football with. He was my receiver. Just imagine throwing deep balls to him. He was in the Olympics for his mile. He could outrun my arm. And then the other, she's a track star, married to a buddy of mine that I played basketball with. Incredible story herself. So it's kind of funny to have Olympian in there, because I would have never made it. Not even close. I didn't have the dedication. I didn't have the heart. I didn't have the routine. I wasn't talented. Because being somebody like that, an Olympian, is not just about skill, not just about will. It's about all of it. Be a college athlete, to be a pro athlete, takes more than anyone understands. The sacrifices you gotta make just for like your business. But episode 11, I hope to keep going.